that there's a crew in town. The head hillbillies are making their rounds. Small town whispers loud and clear. The sheriff shot the judge in his chambers chair.
Sheriff got a secret he won't keep. Judge shot dead in his disbelief. A lot of people have some stories to tell. Dark pass away, get the sound of a shotgun shell.
All the secrets spill on down. Voices loud in this old town. From the courthouse to the ground. Rumors fly and they can't be bound.
Neighbors hide behind their blinds. Whisper tales of troubled minds. Skeletons covering the mountainside. A treacherous reality in the pines.
Winter reveals the hidden lies. Moonlight couldn't mask their cries. Shadows caught in sunlit skies. There's no cover, no disguise. All the secrets spill on down. Voices loud in this old town. From the courthouse to the ground. Rumors fly and they can't be
Winter reveals the hidden lie. Moonlight could mask their cries. Shadows caught in sunlit skies. There's no cover, no disguise.
all the secrets spill on down. Voices loud in this old town. From the courthouse to the ground. Rumors fly and they can't be bound.
Can't hide from hillbilly crime.
You can't
I'm learning, y'all. Welcome to the channel. If you've not been here before, welcome to the Hillbilly Train. This is Hillbilly Crime. My name is Elizabeth, and Sweet Tater's not going to be joining us tonight. She's got a class. So, it's just us. Welcome, welcome. Hit that like button for us, y'all, on your way in. And I guess I ought to get rid of this thing on the behind me there. All right. How is everybody? Jill Madison, good day from Tasmania. Wow. We got people from everywhere. Somebody said to me yesterday or the other day something about going national, and I didn't say nothing, but I was thinking, man, we're already international, y'all. We got people from everywhere that comes and hangs out with us. Thank you for coming. YouTube is not like cable. YouTube's pretty awesome. We get to have all kinds of friends visit. All right. Well, I don't know about you guys. I don't know how much you guys have seen about the London mayor, London, Kentucky. So it's not far. It's not too awful far from here. It's I don't know. How far is it from Letcher County, y'all? London. About 2 hours, maybe, towards Lexington. And it's a pretty decent sized little city. It's right on I-75, goes right through it. So it's a great place for for new business. You know, they should be they should be able to make pretty decent money there in their city to better it, but so they've got this mayor. Now, this is the town where Doug Harless was pew-pewed and unalived. It was a search warrant for a stolen weed eater that was attempted to be served by a huge group of officers. There were like 8 or 9 or 10 around there. That's how many there were. And they went at midnight to serve this search warrant. Well, in the video, it shows that over the radio, they gave the address 10 or 15 times, the correct address for this search warrant. They get there and they just completely ignore the numbers next to the door because they're clearly not the same numbers that were on the search warrant. So they bust in this man's house and looking for a weed eater, a stolen weed eater that belonged to the nephew of the judge executive, the county judge executive. Well, after this fiasco takes place, the judge executive is caught on a 911 call, recorded, having a conversation with one of the police officers. And it's obvious that the very last thing on either of them's mind or tongue was the tragic unaliving of this innocent man. All they were worried about was getting that weed eater back. That's all they was worried about. Well, we've seen city council meetings that have just been off the chain since then. We've seen several different pressers and press releases of the mayor. Now, this last one and we watched it, we live streamed it, but the sound was so bad that I never heard one word of what it was even saying. I couldn't understand none of it. So there is a feller that I watch and I keep up with a lot of his stuff on Facebook. And it's a guy by the name he goes by Crime with Bobby. And he's really good. He's on top of this story. And so I follow a lot of the announcements and stuff that he puts out. But I want to share this with you because I couldn't tell what they were saying in that presser. I was so shocked when I found this article that tells what happened. And I think you guys are going to be shocked as well. I mean, it's just unbelievable. It's unbelievable that we have these kinds of people running our towns. Let's see. Give us a second here. I don't know what's going on. Okay. Here we go. Just took a minute for it to load. It said, this is from Fox 56 channel. It says, Kentucky, London mayor under fire for distributing expunged records, y'all. Defamation litigation continues. So at that presser, apparently, all of those records that he gave out to the news were the people that he was supposedly saying were like chomos and stuff. The records that he gave the news and everybody at that thing that he worked so hard to keep everybody out of were from expunged records. When you get those expunged, when you get something expunged, and it doesn't even have to be a conviction, you could just be charged with something, which I think is the case here. No, I don't even think it was a charge. It was an interview. But you can just be charged with something and it be dismissed, but it still shows up on your record. So, and it'll say, dismissed, but still you don't want some things on your record, and it's free to do that. You don't have to pay anything at the courthouse when you go expunge a dismissed case, at least here in Kentucky. Now you do have to pay a fee to get your to see if you get it. It's called a certification, an expungement certification. And you do it online, and you go to the Kentucky government web page, whichever one it is, and you have to apply for a certification of expungement. And what that is you pay like $40 or something like that. And you tell them what case it was and, what city and what time frame it was in, and tell them that you want to have it expunged or whatever. And whenever you send that in, it goes to like the state police or somebody in the state, and they send you back what is called your expungement certification, and it will have listed there, and you can put it's called a batch, but I don't think there's any limit. I don't know if there's a limit to how many. I don't think there is. I think if you have a whole bunch of charges or cases that you want to have expunged, you can list them in that batch, and they'll send you that email back, and it'll either say it's eligible to be expunged, because there's certain like time frames and stuff like that you have to meet. But it'll say whether it's eligible to be expunged, or it will say it's ineligible to be expunged. And you have to have that certification when you go to the courthouse and file your expungement papers in the courthouse. And you, like I filed mine at the circuit court clerk's office, and then they file it and stuff, and then they'll call you or send you a letter with a court date for you to come in front of the judge and, request it to be expunged. And as long as you have that, certification that says it's eligible, there's usually not many problems. I've never heard of any problems once you've got the certification anyway. But so once you go in front of the judge and he orders that expunged, then that goes, and I think they give like a 60-day window, and they send that order to everywhere that would have a file on it, like the jail. The jail should be destroying their record, the court, and whoever else. I'm not even sure who else would have it, but apparently they didn't I don't know what they did. I don't know. Let's read it and we'll find out. On the heels of London Mayor Randall Weddle's counsel's demand that the defamation suits naming his client be dismissed, a plaintiff has filed an amended suit to include what transpired during Thursday's briefing. Now, this was published on February 28th, 2025, so I'm a little bit behind on this. The most recent filing in the Elijah Jarvis versus Randall Weddle case alleges Weddle, alongside his counsel, Jeremy Bryant, made false and defamatory claims in a sense removed podcast episode appearance and a private briefing. Thursday's briefing was reportedly held in an attempt to prove Weddle's claims cited in the defamation lawsuit. He and his attorney handed out nearly 100 pages of documents to reflect the truthfulness of his statements. Bryant alleged the documents proved that Jarvis was part of a crew of individuals that facilitated the abuse of young girls. To accuse a person of both criminal activity and serious sexual misconduct destroys the reputation, the confidence, and ability of that person to function with the rest of society, Jarvis's attorney, Brandon Volker, wrote. The 11-page file was part of hundreds of pages distributed to media at Thursday's briefing by Weddle and Bryant. So this is a mayor and his lawyer sending this information out that had been expunged. I mean, this circus just gets worse and worse. You know, my pet peeve is competence. You know, people need to be competent to do the job that they have been hired to do. I've never been hired to be a doctor because I'm not competent to be a doctor. I've not been trained. I mean, it just blows my mind. And these people have more money than they know what to do with. It's embarrassing for Kentucky. And our governor has a picture of this fool right up on stage with him. I ought to do that trend on TikTok, you know, that fool. This file depicts the transcript of a London police interview with 16-year-old Jarvis as a third-party witness in the since dismissed case. Court records show that the case was expunged on December 8, 2022, and all agencies, including the City of London, were ordered to destroy all related files under KRS 431076. That's the statute. We'll look at it in a minute. Those with access would have 60 days to expunge the records. After the expungement, the proceedings in the matter shall be deemed heard. The court and other agencies shall delete or remove the records from their computer systems so that any official state-performed background check will indicate that the records do not exist. While the unlawfully disclosed interview does not support the false allegations of defendants Bryant and Weddle, their statements utilize records that are to have been destroyed, Volker wrote in the amended complaint. Furthermore, Volker noted that Jarvis had an expectation of privacy under Kentucky law, being a minor at the time, mandated non-disclosure of the interview. I mean, can you believe that they did that? Bryant demanded that the lawsuit be dismissed by 5 p.m. on Friday, or they'll begin to go down the rabbit hole. In response, on Friday morning, Volker demanded the case be moved to a trial by jury. I want to assure you that I'm resolute in my pursuit of justice. I won't back down in the face of false accusations or intimidation. I'm confident that the truth will ultimately prevail, and I look forward to my day in court. And that was Elijah Jarvis, the plaintiff, who's suing the mayor and his lawyer. Fox 56 asked the defendants to comment on the amended litigation on Friday afternoon. We're waiting to receive a response. Man, oh man, it just blows me away. Let's see. Thank you. Harley 62, super sticker. Bless you, bless you, bless you, honey. Thank you. 100 pages. Read it and weep, sweetie. Kurt Frederick. Louis C. The Bar Association needs contacted on the attorney. Oh, I'm sure they've already been told about that, surely. It just, how can you just keep making these kinds of mistakes? And that's not all. Okay, so they also, so several, let me pull it up on my phone first. My phone's dead, of course. Let's see if I got it here. Justice for Laurel County. Soon we won't be. Oh, yeah. I wanted to show you guys this too. All right, so let me share my screen. We'll go over to Facebook for a second. Okay. So here is the post that Crime with Bobby put up. Mayor Randall Weddle issued an executive order changing how open records requests are handled. It must just be nice to be able to make up your own rules and laws in Kentucky. But does it follow Kentucky law, the statute? And they put it there. He puts it there. In-person inspection required before copies are provided, but KRS 61.874 subsection 1 allows records to be obtained without an in-person visit. Copies will only be mailed after an in-person review, but KRS 61.872 subsection 3 says records must be mailed upon request without requiring an in-person inspection first. Excuse me. Requests only allowed from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. Monday through Friday, but state law does not limit when requests can be submitted, only when agencies must respond. Limits access to Laurel County residents for in-person requests, but nowhere in KRS 61.870 through 61.884 does it allow restricting access by county. I've still been receiving records via email despite this order, he says. So is this being enforced, or is it just a way to make public records harder to get? He asks. All right, so let me see if I can get it blew up there for you, and I'll just read it. Okay, so this is what they, it's an executive order, number 2025-3. So I guess that's the date, March 2025. Office of the Mayor, City of London, Kentucky. Subject, open records request procedures. Whereas the City of London is committed to ensuring transparency and compliance with the Kentucky Open Records Act, and whereas it is necessary to establish a clear and consistent process for residents of Laurel County and Kentucky to request and obtain public records while maintaining the integrity and security of city documents. Now, therefore, I, Randall Weddle, Mayor of the City of London, by the authority vested in me. Are you kidding me? Do hereby order the following procedures for open records requests. Number 1, submission of requests. Open records requests from residents of Laurel County or the Commonwealth of Kentucky may be submitted in person, electronically, or by mail to the office of the city clerk. Requests submitted in person shall be made at City Hall, office of the city clerk, and then it gives the address. All requests must be submitted using the Attorney General's standardized open records requests form, which is readily available for public use. And then it gives the statute. Requests shall be made during regular business hours, Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. Review of records. All Laurel County residents shall appear in person to review records before any copies are made. No copies will be provided until an in-person inspection of the records has been completed. Number 3, copying and mailing of records. After in-person review, if copies are requested, the requester may provide a valid mailing address. So they're not even going to give them the copy. Copies will only be mailed following the in-person inspection. A fee of 10 cents per page shall be charged for copies, in addition to the cost of postage. Fees are payable at the time of request submission. Individuals exempt under KRS 61.878 shall not be subject to these fees. Point of contact. All requests shall be directed to the office of the city clerk at the address stated above. This executive order shall take effect immediately upon its issuance and remain in full force unless modified or rescinded by further order. In witness whereof I have hereunto set my hand and caused the official seal of the City of London to be affixed this 10th day of February 2025. Randall Weddle, Mayor of the City of London. Butterfly kisses. How did that dude make mayor? Louis C. He has opened himself up to civil and criminal actions. Wild man's mom. That's not good if you're wiped clean of the incident. Then how did he have access? Well, and it was supposed to be expunged in 2022, and it said that it was an interview that doesn't even prove what Weddle's trying to say about this guy. Number one, he was a minor. The guy that he's saying this about, he was 16 years old, and it said that he was a third-party witness. to something. It didn't even say what, but he was a third party witness. And then they take these expunged records that there should be no. So what are they doing? Expunging them, but keeping them a copy for what? I mean, what could you use that for? Blackmail? I mean, I'm just saying. We're speculating, of course, allegedly. What would you do with them? Why would you keep records of somebody else? Treva, it's so nice and warm in Colorado. We are loving it. Bless you, honey. Bless you. Hit that like button for us, y'all. Beagle Mom says it in South Carolina. It's just windy here. Redneck rock hunters. The mayor is best buddies with the city police. Oh, they're all connected. I mean, if he did it, how did he get it expunged? He didn't do nothing. It was an interview that just had this guy, and he was a kid at the time. It didn't say when the interview was even from. And remember, this is also the mayor. You remember the story that we did where open records were sent in the mail to somebody? And when the guy went to his post office box to pick it up, or post office to pick it up, there were two 911 operator people there, and they asked the mailman for his mail, said that we sent it and we need it back because there's something in there we need to fix. And the dummies down at the post office gave it to them. Isn't that a federal offense? And then the dude sit there and open it right in front of them. We did a show on it, y'all. If you ain't seen it, go back and look in the playlist. Wrong house search warrant. It's unbelievable that these people are the ones who are running our cities, who have control over millions and millions of dollars. I mean, it just blows me away. Ronald Gehring. I'm from Richmond Hill, Georgia, little town outside of Savannah. Love your show. Keep up the good work, as I was a victim of a police situation. I don't want to say much. And a shady attorney. Thank you. Honey, listen. I used to want to be an attorney. Like, I wanted to. I wanted to go to law school, and I wanted to, change the world. Let her out, Alan. But it just doesn't happen that way. Everybody deserves a defense. Everybody deserves a defense. I agree with that. There are a lot of people, innocent people, that are charged with crimes. There's a lot of innocent people who are charged with horrendous crimes that they did not commit. And they are a victim of our criminal justice system. And there's a whole lot of them. And I know as a society, we have a tendency, listen, I'm guilty myself. We have a tendency that when somebody is charged, they're all, it's just the way that it is. You're in this country. I know they say you're innocent until proven guilty, but that's really not how the system is. You are guilty until you prove your innocence. Unfortunately, that's how a whole lot of them situations end up turning out. And if you really are innocent, then you have to prove it. I know they say that the burden's on the state, but the way that we see how most of the states' prosecution, maybe the moral fiber of a lot of these teams, I won't even say people, because I think it ends up becoming the whole team. You know, if you've got a whole team full of snakes and you're not a snake, you're outnumbered. And if you don't become a snake, you're going to become eaten. They will eat their young. These small towns in Georgia, corrupt as hell. They are. Ronald Gehring, I do want to contact the Bar Association after I paid an $8,000 fee to an attorney. Spoke to her 4 times in 4 years for a total of 5 minutes. She pled me guilty. Listen, man that went to my church, his own defense attorney sucked him dry. Took every penny that they had, took every penny of their immediate family, and took every penny of their extended family that they could spare. And it drug out and drug out and drug out and drug out. And then the next thing you know, all the charges were dismissed. I think he pled guilty to something stupid. You know, didn't have nothing to do with the big charges that they charged him for. All them big charges, all that evidence that they said they had against him, well, where did it go? They never had it. They never had it to begin with. It is. Thank you. Yeah, we bless you. We pray for you, honey. We pray for everybody who's had to go through these kinds of situations, because unfortunately, a lot of people get taken advantage of by attorneys, you know, and it's not something that you really think of, you know, of happening. But look at all of these big time attorneys here in the last couple years that they've been revealing. Like the Murdoch guy, he pew-pewed his kid, his wife, but it was all to try and cover up the theft of his clients for his entire career. It sounded like. I mean, he had stole millions and millions and millions of dollars from these people who never even knew that they had a settlement. Like, it's unbelievable. And what do they get? What kind of punishments do they get for these white collar crimes? Because they don't stick a pew-pew to somebody's head and say, give me your money. They'd get a big long sentence if they did something like that. But, you know, attorneys oftentimes hide behind their license, behind their reputation, behind their money, behind their ability to maneuver the justice system in ways that the common man don't understand and don't know how to do and can't do. You know, you can't. Most people defendants are not successful as pro se defendants. But I don't know if any of you all caught that one feller. I think it was in Florida or somewhere. Honey, they had him charged with red rum. He was looking at like the big DP or life in prison. And he apparently was really not guilty. And he represented himself. And he was found not guilty. I think the first trial was like a hung jury. And so then he went again and he was found not guilty, I think, in the second one. Or they might have given him a plea deal or something. I don't remember exactly the details of it, but he really did a great job. He really did. And if you take the time, that's kind of what I was saying the other night. Like, if people go to look at the financial forms, if they go to look at the budgets, and they're so full of big words and confusing sentences, and if you're not trained and you don't know how to interpret that information, you could look at the exact same document as somebody else that is trained and say, yep, sure, looks fine to me. And you sign off on something that you have no idea what you're even looking at. There's that competence thing again. When people are hired into positions that they're not qualified for, or they really don't know what they're doing, you end up having the same situations. What did I say last night? How many times do we look at those audits for the fiscal court here in Letcher County? Year after year after year after year after year, the exact same problems that were identified in those audits continued to be identified as problems year after year after year. And all they have to do is, what kind of response did we hear? We read them all. Oh, well, we're working on it. Well, we can't help it. We don't have enough staff, or whatever their excuse was. Well, every year, it's the same thing, same thing, same thing. But we keep voting these people who are still on that board, still on that fiscal court, in year after year after year, or election after election after election. Well, if they weren't doing it 15 years ago, and we're still seeing the exact same things on these audits coming up year after year, I think we might need a new fiscal court. Give somebody else a try that might be able to get in there and kind of know a little bit more what they're doing with the budgets. Because I just think after so long, there should have been some corrections made to those important things. I mean, yeah, it's great. It's great to get on Facebook and give updates and notifications about the roads and, weather conditions and stuff like that. But we've got a whole lot of other things that have been ignored and just continued pass the buck on down the road that I think need to be addressed. But that's just me. That's just me. See you later says, a common ground for appealing a criminal conviction is to claim ineffective assistance of counsel or inadequate defense. Yep. We see that a lot in the appeals. I'm very upset. The system in Georgia is so crooked, at least in Bryan County. I think we're finding out that it's pretty much a little bit everywhere. Some places are just a little bit or a lot worse than others. Jess says, Ronald, maybe if you talk about it and loud enough, it get around to someone who can help you pro bono. Absolutely. And that's a problem too. Okay. A lot of things you have to have an attorney for. A lot of things you just cannot do by yourself. You need an attorney. And, what I've seen a whole lot of, I have a friend who's an attorney, and I was really not satisfied when I hired an attorney one time, and I was just we just didn't click at all. And I was telling my friend who's an attorney about it. And he was like, oh, no. He said, you should always interview them. You know, they are the ones who are, you know, they're going to be working for you. And not all attorneys are, you know, the same. Some are better than others. Some have better bedside manners than others. You know, some people are, and it's human nature. It's human beings. They're the same as anybody else. You know, some are more hateful than others. Some are nicer than others. But it's really important to get along with your attorney. If you don't get along with your attorney, how well are they going to fight for you? How many times have we seen public defenders who aren't getting paid? You know, they make hardly nothing. But how many times have we seen public defenders come in and, I mean, all they did was show up. All they did was show up. They didn't come to fight for that person. They didn't call no witnesses. They didn't put on no defense. They didn't do squat. They just showed up. You might have been better off without one. I've seen that a whole lot around here. Let's see. What's everybody saying? Yeah, we need to get, I'll get me a P.O. box, LS. That's a good idea. Need to get one. Autism. GMA times 3. So much corruption. This has been very eye-opening. Yeah, and who just keeps letting this fool do all this stuff? I mean, does he really have that much power? Let me look down at these comments and I'll read them for y'all. You know, you love my readings. He is a joke. Just because you have money doesn't mean you can do whatever you want. He needs out of office ASAP. Hashtag justice for Doug Harless. Next voting, I know I and quite a few others will be voting to try and get rid of this corruption. All he's doing is making himself look like a bigger fool than he already is. It's like he's taking it as a challenge. Where's our friend JJ been lately? Is he giving Weddle a sponge bath? Thank you. I needed this today. You win for best comment of the day. I keep getting fake. Oh, no, it's talking about something else. Time to remove them all from office in London. It's apparent that they are not working for London's residents, but their own shady agendas. I feel like your 5 minutes of fame is being extended through all of this, and you deserve it. Oh, somebody said that too. Somebody else. I don't know. They have been keeping him busy. Let's see. Open records are open records. He cannot choose who he wants to give them to. A mayor does not have the authority to change or amend any state law. Needs to be a lawsuit against the mayor over it. He's drowning in lawsuits right now. I'm still waiting to see what the $1.5 million from the state of Kentucky, Dandy Andy, to replace city sidewalks was spent on. It's public record that the city got it. The bully Mayor Weddle is still trying to make the rules up as he goes. I think it's pathetic, and he has no place in the office of mayor. But no, he ended up, remember, this mayor gave 300 and like close to $50,000 to our governor, Andy Bashir, or that, I don't know who all he gave it to, but he gave a great big chunk to Andy Bashir. I think they said it was like 202,000 that he gave in the names of his employees, his family. He knew it wasn't allowed. He knew it was illegal, or why would he put it in everybody else's name? You can't have your cake and eat it too. You can't say, I didn't know it wasn't right. I didn't know I couldn't do that. When they tracked it all back, that 202,000 was all paid off of one credit card in everybody else's names. I mean, come on. And you're a mayor over a police department and you don't know, I mean, sheesh. Yes, he did. But all this stuff has been able to stay under the rug for so long. All this stuff has been able to go away for so long. They could do what they wanted for so long. But now social media has kind of evolved in a way that, it doesn't happen. It's not as easy to keep it hid anymore. An executive order, LOL, sounds like he's following suit of his president, making up stupid orders that are also seemingly illegal for his own benefit. My president is the greatest. Council should ask the city attorney if this is legal. Seems many would be interested if he was consulted and in agreement. Yeah, I'd like to know if their city attorney was consulted. But apparently this attorney that he gave the big presser with was consulted. He's the one who did it. How can you be a lawyer, an attorney, and get out there and do that presser and using expunged records? You better be careful who you trust. Not everybody tells the truth. Anyone surprised? Where is the city's legal counsel? Trying to cover up their crimes. Probably part of the cover-up. Why in the world would he make these records harder to get? The problem I have is how out in the open, in our face this is. But it's okay. All of it ready to unalive over a weed eater or rug reeler? What? I don't care, wrong house or not. It's wrong and illegal. And that makes it hoes who red rummed Doug Harless accomplishes. And all that are responsible for these gang members, task force, no difference, should all rot in jail. Because they created an environment and workplace against the laws of our state and country. They do not give a SHIT about anyone other than in their growing smaller circle. It's unbelievable in this day and age in woke America, lawbreakers, criminals are running our system of government. And they are all complicit in what's going on. Fear and intimidation is how and why this goes on. Fake profiles, limiting access to information, threatening people, doing everything but getting justice for Doug, and for all getting justice for Laurel County, London, Kentucky. It's time to stand up and fight. Nobody but the ones in the corruption are okay with what's going on. We must stand and unite so we can fight for the next generations to grow up in this ever increasingly crazy world where honor, duty, and justice no longer prevails, but only the powerful are rich and their friends. Well, you all, it's time. Stand up. He thinks he has more power than he does. I don't see how a mayor alone can change Kentucky law. But what do I know? When does London get a new mayor? He's not able to change laws. I'm no politician and no rocket scientist, but he can't change any law under state regulations unless it's approved by the state and his buddy in the mayor's office signs off on it. That would be my understanding of the law. I don't know, you guys. It's just awful. He keeps digging that hole deeper and deeper. Lawyers and out-of-town TV stations are going to have a field day with this if it's not legal. That's my opinion. Anything to make it harder for the public to actually see what's being covered up. Left out America is getting ridiculous. I bet if they wanted records, it'd be instant on demand. That's crazy. Crazy, crazy. Hey, they are having another protest for Doug Harless tomorrow night. Now, JJ is organizing a protest for tomorrow night against the Harless family and friends. Holy cow. Talk about just juvenile and disrespectful, childish. You know, that was one of the big things we saw here. Thank you, Fee. Thank you, honey. That was one of the biggest things we saw in the civil suit with Mickey and Ben Fields and them, was the childish, immature behavior. Thank you, Miss Wendy. Thank you. The childish and immature behavior that seemed to be throughout the police department. And I just about bet it's not just the sheriff's department. I bet if they looked in Whitesburg City Police, Neon, I don't know this guy that is the new Neon cop, but I do know his family, and I like his family. He's got 2 little old girls, and I really like them. They go to our school. And so hopefully Neon's got a better police department now than what it used to be. And at one time, the chief of Neon Police was arrested for robbing the bank. Believe it or not. Had a real bad rug problem. So, you know, they got kind of a history of not picking great leaders there of their law enforcement. But, and then you've got Jenkins City Police that I'm just going to step right on over tonight. We'll eventually get there, but not yet. See you later, says the FBI said they sent it. It hadn't been delivered. They are not held to USPS policies, and they did nothing wrong. The FBI said they sent it. It hadn't been delivered. Oh, so the FBI investigated, said, because they were claiming, you know, this was wrong, that they opened this guy's mail of the public records that were sent to him. So the FBI said they were the sender of the package and it had not been delivered, and they're not held to the USPS policies, and they did nothing wrong. The post office for handing over the mail to the 911 people. But they're not law enforcement, are they? Would people on a 911 center board or whoever they were, admins, are they law enforcement? So it doesn't matter if they were law enforcement or not. All that mattered was that they were the sender. Very interesting. I see you before you see me. I love it. Keep doing your fight, girl. Be a great lawyer. Well, I've said this before, but I'll say it again for those that didn't hear it. My lawyer friend went after I'd graduated and stuff, and I was getting ready to figure out which path I was going to go on. I was either going to get my master's or I was going to go to law school. And he said, there's two types of lawyers. There's one type that takes everything. They wear their heart on the sleeve. They're always for the underdog. They're always, taking every case personal. And he said they burn out really, really fast. And they're really unhappy people, very stressed out, and just, basket case. And then he said, you've got the other type of attorney who is all about the prestige of the position. And it's about the competition in the courtroom with your opponent, whether you're the defense or prosecution. And it's all about winning. Well, I'm not that. And so I made a decision that I wasn't going to do it because my mental health, I just figured that would not be, I was already kind of cuckoo. Mickey has been saying over and over, treat me fair. What does that even mean? I know, right? After what he did upstairs. We are guilty until proven innocent. Kurt Frederick. Well, that's the way it always felt for me, because think about it. You get charged, you go to jail, and then you have to pay, hang on a second. Let me get this dog. Right. She was chewing Alan's wrestling mask. He'd be a little upset over that. She's chewed all Gregory's stuff that maybe not all of it, but a lot of it. Yeah, there you go. Take your toy. Oh, let's see. T. King. It's all about money. My son is in prison for something he didn't do, and we paid tens of thousands of dollars. The attorney and the state has a deal inside. Well, you got to remember, these courthouses are full of friends. These attorneys on both sides are friends. They're co-workers. They work together every single day, if not, at least every week. If they work in that county, you know what I mean? If they were, it just depends. But you better believe that they have already built relationships. The more trials that I watch on TV, you can almost see the relationships between the judges and the prosecutors, the judges and the defense attorneys. I've seen the differences between like women and men. I watch a lot of trials, y'all, and I always have. I'm fascinated by it. And it's usually by the unethical behavior of the prosecution. You know, a prosecutor is supposed to be after the truth. They're not supposed to be after another notch on their belt. That's not supposed to be their goal. Their main objective ought to be to get to the truth and to get justice for the victims of crimes. And we don't see that a whole lot. What we see is prosecutions digging in their heels, even in the face of common sense, physical evidence. It don't matter. They're going to dig their heels in, and if it means convicting an innocent man, then so be it. But they're not going to admit to no mistakes. They're not going to admit to no mistakes on behalf of their police department who investigated that case. And a lot of times, you can't trust the integrity of those in those positions. Especially if you've got an entire system of people that are made up of, or an entire system made up of people who go along to get along. Or an entire department or agency full of family members and in-laws and friends and buddies and poker buddies. And something about, you know, we heard in the depositions there with Mickey that Mickey hosted a poker game on Sundays or whenever. He wasn't the only one that held no game. He's just the only one that sat for a deposition and that information came out. There were more poker games and card games and get-togethers that were going on or that had gone on. You know, we also got to remember that a lot of these people have been in position for a long time. And this stuff is, you know, generational, families. So this has been going on a long time. Let's see. See you later says straight into the DA and defense attorney's pockets. I think the attorneys pay for those sweet pleas and dismissals. Well, how would we know if they didn't? You know, I mean, I just don't take people's word. You can't take people's word. I just watched body cam today, body cam footage of a call. Several police officers. There was a tip came in that this man was holding a woman hostage in his basement. So the cops go out there and he immediately comes out his door all upset with a robber's mask on, you know, just showing his eyes and his mouth. And he starts hollering, I'm a confidential informant. I'm a confidential informant. What are you doing here? You need to call so-and-so. Da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. We kept going on and on. They were there probably a couple hours, and he never would let them inside. No. Finally, he let them inside to come and look in the basement. Well, he had moved her. He did have one in there, a 60-year-old woman who he had physically assaulted repeatedly for days and days, and they believed him. And they left. And it wasn't until another tipster went up and told him he's about to unalive her. You can't take nobody's word for it. You can't take nobody's word for nothing. Now, I realize he was a criminal. Why did the cops take his word for it? Why didn't they search better? Because that poor woman was ended up having to endure it for 3 more days or something. I mean, if it was 3 more hours, it was too long. Just can't take people's word for anything. Kurt says when his lips are moving. Dirtiest job is an attorney. Well, and you've got attorneys who, like we found out the other day, this attorney who's representing the victim in this one case, well, he defended the perpetrator in a very similar and but different case. I mean, and you can't hold the lawyers responsible for what the clients do. Of course not. But I don't know. It just kind of seems hard. Like I would have a moral dilemma. I guess that's a good thing I didn't become an attorney. I'm sure there's corruption here somewhere, but I haven't heard anything, at least after we got rid of the sheriff 5 years ago. Good deal. Good deal. Tracy says every county. Hi, Wild, Wild West. Yep. Ned said he wouldn't take a case in Letcher County after he filed that civil suit. Well, he's already took a whole bunch here. I got taken advantage of by an attorney too. I'm sorry. That I'm not convinced that a lot of these, maybe not a lot, but I've had, and not just me, but Bella. Not just me, but some of my friends too have felt like they got sold out by their own attorney. I can't tell you how many women I've spoken to who felt like their divorce attorney sold them out. And I remember going to court one time. I went to support somebody else who was in court, having court. And they brought him in. They brought the person in. They had their, part of their hearing. They ended up taking a break, and they took the defendant back into that little room, that little waiting room, and they came back out, and that defense attorney and prosecutor were slapping each other on the backs and just cackling and ha-haing and hee-heeing. And this was right down there in Whitesburg. And I thought that was the most inappropriate thing at the time. Like, I was just shocked. I could not believe that they were being that way. In this case, and the case was so important. Like a man's life was depending on the outcome of this case, or the decisions and stuff, the hearings. And then whenever they brought the defendant back out, that mask went on his face and he was back to pretending he was outraged or something. It was just so fake. And, if you sit back and watch stuff like that, body language and just the interactions, people will tell you a whole lot. LS. Imagine the points you'd get on a $200,000 charge on a credit card. That's right. My dog is going after pillows like crazy. I don't know what's wrong with her. Oh, weirdo. Stop. Veronica, strange than fiction. Stranger than fiction. Oh, yeah. Did you get any news about the next in show? Yeah, we're going to do Court TV tomorrow night at 9. So I don't know. I'll probably do mine before my show before. Since it's so late at night. And remember, the way that they do it, the only people that I know that see it at 9 are those who have like cable, or I don't know. Jess said she saw it on a different app, cable app. But then they usually post it on YouTube a couple days later. So whenever they post it, we'll watch it on the show. So don't worry if you do miss it. As soon as it comes out, or as soon as they send me the link, then we'll show it. And I don't think I got a response from the other show yet, but that one's exciting. I'm so excited. Yay! I don't want to say it yet. Jinx it. Tar and feather. It's a shame that tar and feathers went out of fashion. I know, man. I know. Nothing is surprising anymore. Don't worry, Crystal. Every time we do a trial, it always deletes my comment too. I have to do better at phrasing things. Allegedly, Lisa, I would have personally bought them a weed eater if it was that important. That didn't have to do what they did. Exactly. Thank you. I mean, greed. Greedy people just make me sick. Kind of like Boss Hog and Roscoe Pico Train. Oh, man. Bugman, that is where the deals are made. The more you pay, the better you come out here. Say it loud and say it again. If you can only pay 10 grand, you're going to have a little prison time. If you can pay 200 grand, you get probation. And, one of the ones that just got out and got the plea deal of the century for his crimes, one of the charges on his criminal record that's a conviction was bribery. Well, who did he bribe? I want to know that information. I want to know who he tried to bribe and why he was charged with that. I'd love to know that information because I'm interested to know who turned him in. I just want to know. Integrity is almost extinct. You got to have a conscience to have any kind of integrity. Myrtle Burke, watching from the bushes. Oh, Joanna Linville, Roku has it. I think she's talking about the Court TV. Tanya Jones, Elizabeth, my mom, worked for an attorney. They are all friends who all go golfing together. Yeah, Well, remember, our bunch all have lake houses down in Tennessee. Now, when I say lake house down in Tennessee, you have to know what lake house means to you. I don't think all of these people had, $500,000 lake houses with wraparound decks and, stuff like that. But what a lot of people do have is like a camper or an RV, or maybe it might be an actual little cabin of some kind. Now that's the normal people, the normal income around here. Or, at least on their feet or whatever. A lot of people have them, little campers and stuff down in Tennessee. I don't know what any of their places look like down there. I have no clue. But, they all do have a place. All of them. I guarantee you, all of them have one somewhere. Shoot, if I was making $100,000 a year, I'd have one too. I just want a bedroom. I just want a bed. I want. I'd be satisfied to have my own bed. And I would share it with all of my fur babies. Absolutely. Let's see. Was there something else I was going to show you all? Oh, yeah. Soon we won't be able to protest anywhere. Okay, let me pull this one up and show you real quick. I found this very interesting. This was on the Justice for Laurel County, London, Kentucky. It was on their website. It was an article. Let me pull it up here and we'll read it real quick. Shocking. I haven't been keeping up with a lot of the national stuff. Okay, so this is Senator Marsha Blackburn proposes up to a 5-year penalty. I'm not going to put it up, guys, because it'll take too much of my stuff on my computer. I'll just read it. Proposes up to a 5-year penalty for protesting outside U.S. courts or judges' homes. Blackburn sponsored the Protecting Our Supreme Court Justices Act of 2025. A Republican senator from Tennessee proposed people who protest outside court buildings or homes of judges face a possible 5 years in prison. Senator Marsha Blackburn, Republican of Tennessee, sponsored the Protecting Our Supreme Court Justices Act of 2025. Currently, people who protest outside court buildings or outside any building or residence occupied or used by such judge, juror, witness, or court officer may face up to a year in prison. Blackburn's proposal would increase the penalty to 5 years. The existing law applies to people who try interfering with, obstructing, or impeding the administration of justice through picketing or parading. It also specifically says people can be fined if they use devices that amplify voices or other sounds. So them big bullhorns get in trouble. A group of 5 Republican lawmakers have signed on to co-sponsor Blackburn's bill, including Senator Ted Cruz and Senator Mike Lee. It was introduced on February 4th and needs to be discussed in the Senate Judiciary Committee before it can be voted on. And that's the end of it. That was March 7th, 2025. So, I don't know. We got the best chat on YouTube, y'all. Best chat on YouTube. All right, guys. I think we've been on here long enough. Thank you guys so much. Harley62, bless you. Wendy Woobles, bless you, honey. Fee, thank you. Rob Smith, bless you, thank you, thank you, thank you. And Dale Homestead became a YouTube member. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Well, guys, another day, another dollar, and another corrupt politician. All right, well, I'll see you tomorrow. We will, I don't know if I'm going to do one tomorrow during the day or not. Just look for me. We'll see. All right. Well, you all have a blessed evening. You want to say hi? Hello. My baby. It's my little baby. All right, y'all. God bless you. Have a good evening. Stay warm. Stay blessed. Peace out, Girl Scout. See ya.
You can't hide from hillbilly crime.
You can't hide from hillbilly crime.
You can't hide from hillbilly crime.
You may not know that there's a crew in town. The head hillbillies are making their rounds. Small town whispers loud and clear. The sheriff shot the judge in his chambers chair.
Sheriff got a secret he won't keep. Judge shot dead in his disbelief. A lot of people have some stories to tell. Doc passed away, get the sound of a shotgun shell.
All the secrets spill on down. Voices loud in this old town. From the courthouse to the ground. Rumors fly and they can't be bound.
Neighbors hide behind their blinds. Whisper tales of troubled minds. Skeletons covering the mountainside. A treacherous reality in the pines.
Winter reveals the hidden lies. Moonlight couldn't mask the cries. Shadows caught in sunlit skies. There's no cover,